Good afternoon. I'm Greg Smith. I'm the Director of the Office of Civil Rights and the Department's Chief Diversity Officer. And I'd like to welcome you to the Thursday Luncheon Group's Monday Luncheon to celebrate its 45th anniversary. Now, after 45 years, it really doesn't matter what day of the week we get together. But on this occasion, it is most important that we do get together to recognize the achievement, this historic occasion. So 45 years ago, some may have asked, why form the Thursday Luncheon Group, TLG? Fair question, but I respond, why not? The Thursday Luncheon Group was founded in 1973 to increase participation of African Americans and other minorities in the formulation, articulation, and implementation of United States foreign policy. So I took a trip. I went back to 1973 through the magic of Google to see what was going on in the United States in 1973, besides my very eventful 11th grade year, but that didn't make Google. So of the 10 major events listed, 6 were foreign policy related: the Cold War, space race, U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, the 1970 energy crisis, and the 1973 oil crisis. So why not increase the participation of African Americans and other minorities in the formulation, articulation, and implementation of U.S. foreign policy? We were and are capable, curious about the issues, inclined to public service. We offered considered judgment and unique perspective. Again, why not? And thank God they did. So we celebrate 45 years is substantial, it is historic, it is serious, and I dare say for those serving, it has been fun. And I've seen some of the pictures at some of the TLG events. So why not celebrate? And thank you for joining us today. As your co-host, it falls to me to share 3 housekeeping points very quickly. You will find our program agenda in your souvenir booklet. We will follow it to the letter to keep things moving. Restrooms are to my left beyond the elevators. And also, please take in the moment. We ask that you feel free to take pictures during the program. We encourage you to tweet, post on Facebook or Instagram, and use the hashtag TLG45. Again, welcome. And at this time, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Jane Carpenter-Rock to the podium for our formal welcome address.
Good afternoon. Honored guests, members of the Thursday Luncheon Group, Association of Black American Ambassadors, distinguished colleagues, and friends. I'm truly honored to welcome you to the Thursday Luncheon Group's 45th anniversary celebration. What a wonderful occasion. My name is Jane Carpenter-Rock, and I'm currently Deputy Director of the U.S. Diplomacy Center here at the State Department, where we are building a museum to preserve the history of American diplomacy. I'm also a proud 17-year member of the Thursday Luncheon Group. Today marks a momentous occasion, a celebration of TLG's history, achievements, lasting legacy, and an examination of the path ahead. For 45 years, the Thursday Luncheon Group has served as a strong advocate for issues relevant to African Americans and minorities at the State Department. Today, we are so proud of the multiple generations of foreign affairs professionals and supporters of TLG who have gathered on this special occasion. About 10 days ago, I had the pleasure of traveling to Long Island, New York, to meet a gentleman named Edward Dudley, Jr. Some of you may recognize his name because his father, Edward Dudley, Sr., was our nation's first Black ambassador. What a thrill it was to meet with Dudley and pore over the pictures, artifacts, and documents handed down from his father, documenting his time at the department, serving as the first U.S. ambassador to Liberia from 1949 to 1953. You will be pleased to know that Mr. Dudley has decided to give the entirety of his father's State Department collection to the U.S. Diplomacy Center to preserve for posterity. In addition to serving as our nation's first Black ambassador, Ed Dudley was also a civil rights attorney who used his time at the department to effect real change for diplomats of color. In fact, one of the items I have with me here today is a memo Dudley wrote on May 10, 1949, with the subject line, Policy of the Department of State with reference to the assignment and transfer of Negro personnel of the Foreign Service. Within these pages, he meticulously argues for African American officers to be given a more diverse and career-enhancing range of overseas assignments beyond postings to Monrovia and the Canary Islands. He recognized this segregationist practice within the federal government and set forth a compelling legal case to stop it, citing the law, enlisting names of specific officers, their ranks, postings, grades, including one, Clifton Wharton Sr., our first Black career ambassador. Reading these pages, I was overwhelmed with gratitude that Dudley used his few years at State to agitate for change that has directly benefited each one of us. I'm also overwhelmed with the knowledge that many of you in this room have done the same throughout your careers at the department, including our honorees, Ambassador Harry Thomas and Mrs. Fannie Allen. Others, like our honorees, Dr. Thomas Rowe and Dr. Richard Hope, worked outside of the department to ensure diverse foreign affairs professionals had the skills, opportunities, and networks necessary to succeed. We are here only because of your efforts, and we thank you. In closing, in his 1981 oral history, Ambassador Dudley reflected back on his role in expanding opportunities for African Americans at State by saying, quote, "It was my responsibility to correct what was not only an unwholesome situation, but an illegal one. In my judgment, this was probably one of the most important things I did the whole time I was there, not so much between the relations of Liberia and the United States, but for Black Americans," end quote. These are powerful words, and words that remind us of the mission of the Thursday Luncheon Group. We are here to open doors, address injustices, and make the institution better than we found it. Thank you for the role each one of you have played in making this institution better. Once again, welcome and enjoy the luncheon.
Thank you, Jane. I'd now like to recognize a few of our special guests. I'm told that we have guests that have traveled far and wide to be with us. So we have before us Lieutenant General of the U.S. Air Force, Albert Edmonds, and please hold your applause if you're here, General Edmonds. Oh, thank you. Mr. Irving Williamson, Commissioner, United States International Trade Commission. The Honorable Laurie J. Fitz-Pagado, partner at the Livingston Group. The Honorable Mary A. Gooden Terrell, retired Associate Judge on the Superior Court of the District of Columbia. The President of Minority Access Incorporated, Andrea Mickle. And we have a host of TLG pioneers, former TLG presidents, and members of the Association of Black American Ambassadors. Please give them a round of applause. Also, we have with us senior advisors of the International Career Advancement Program, various affinity group members, and HECFA's leadership. And finally, we also have joined with us, and by no means any diminishment of her contribution because she's last, but the Director General of the Foreign Service, Ambassador Carol Perez. I now would like to invite Mr. Tony Fernandez to the podium to provide the occasion. And also, I think they're going to be, please enjoy your salads, and we'll begin the meal as well.
Wow, look at this room. This is beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, it is truly an honor to be with all of you today at this momentous celebration. Former Secretary Colin Powell once remarked, "We should all focus on something that is bigger than ourselves and run with it." Those words are resoundingly evident and clear as we are here at this moment in the Benjamin Franklin Room to celebrate TLG's 45th anniversary. 45 years. Let's reflect on that for a moment. For some of us here, a significant part of our lifetime. For others, 45 years harkens back to a time before we were even born. For each of us gathered together today, however, 45 years marks a significant milestone. Nearly half a century of unity, leadership, and with purpose, individual and collective celebration of accolades, an abiding appreciation of our culture and heritage, and a host of achievements in international affairs. Let's not forget it was Mr. Robert Dumas and Mr. Bill Davis who made today possible. Early on in their careers, they were not allowed to meet together in the State Department cafeteria. TLG was coined to provide cover so they could discreetly meet to discuss recruitment, retention, and advancement of African Americans within state and USAID. TLG, launched by our two late founders, now exceeds 500 members. Let that soak in, 500 members. I wonder if they could have imagined we would continue their great work 45 years later and be more than 500 strong. We were able to recognize Robert Dumas and Bill Davis at our 40th Anniversary Gala event. They would certainly be proud to know we are still active, though they would likely be dismayed to see how relevant and needed TLG continues to be in 2019. I had the pleasure to meet Bill Davis in 1996 when I attended a TLG event before I was an employee of the State Department. I told him I had passed the Foreign Service written exam, and he offered to tutor me on the oral exam with two of his friends, Howard Hardy and Dr. Bernard Coleman of USIA. I'm here before you today as a direct result of their generosity and support. Today we will have an opportunity to recognize our newest cohort of pioneers. These four pioneers took up the mantle of TLG's core values. They became real trailblazers when afforded the opportunity to lead, but they also reached a helping hand back to mentor and guide those coming from behind them. Ambassador Harry K. Thomas, former Executive Secretary to Condoleezza Rice, Director General and Ambassador to Bangladesh, the Philippines, and Zimbabwe. Ambassador Thomas was also dedicated to and remains committed to mentoring those around him. I have personally benefited from his guidance. Early in my career, he encouraged me to serve in the Operations Center, and he has always been there and has, whenever I needed advice on assignments and evaluations. Ms. Fannie Allen, one of our 5 Civil Service TLG presidents, elevated TLG's speakers series and laid the groundwork for TLG's annual internship program. Following her 36 years with State, she has remained active within the community in mentoring, empowering, and positioning students for success in both the public and private sectors. Before I joined the State Department, I also met Ms. Allen at a TLG event and thank her for her generosity. Another one of our pioneers, Dr. Tom Rowe, brought an innovative idea to a meeting with Ambassador Ruth A. Davis in the State Department cafeteria. Shortly thereafter, the International Career Advancement Program was launched through the University of Denver. Since 1997, 550 fellows have participated in the mid-career program and are actively advancing careers in international affairs across academia, non-governmental organizations, and the public and private sectors. Many of us here have been fortunate enough to participate in ICAP and to experience this incredible opportunity for personal and professional growth, myself included in 2000. Our fourth trailblazer is Dr. Richard Hope. In 1992, Ambassador Edward Perkins established the Foreign Affairs Fellows Program, now the Pickering Program, to increase diversity within the ranks of the Foreign Service. Dr. Richard Hope was named to take the program from concept to reality. Dr. Hope launched a host of career Foreign Service officers dedicated to advancing U.S. foreign policy goals worldwide. Dr. Hope was the catalyst in establishing the underpinnings of the program as it has just reached 27 years of operations. We are reminded that from many, we are one. These visionary leaders from various backgrounds came together to establish profound records of achievement that truly align with the goals of TLG and positively change the lives of scores of African Americans. Each of these individuals to be recognized today represent a successful subset of our 45-year history. Those of us within the department who follow the trails they have blazed have a unique responsibility to build on their principled successes, both by moving forward and by reaching a hand back to those who come after us. TLG has been the platform for the past 45 years from which much success has been achieved. Just think what we can achieve together in this revered organization over the next 45 years. Let us remember each day those who blazed these trails before us. Let us work each day to push the now well-worn paths of these trails farther, blazing new paths and widening the trails to ensure the State Department and USAID truly reflect this great nation in which we live. Our work in TLG is more important now than ever. Just as we've leaned on the four great pioneers we honor today, future generations are already looking to us to blaze new trails. 45 years. 45 years. Most assuredly, these past 45 years are exceptional. Congratulations, TLG, and congratulations to our four pioneers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Amber Whittington, and I have the distinct privilege of offering the invocation for this afternoon. And as I look across this room, I am humbled by the expertise and the excellence that is represented today. Before I begin, I want to be mindful that we may not all share the same faith. And so I will be offering a Christian prayer, but I want to offer each of us an opportunity to silently reflect upon the faith tradition that we may ascribe to. So please bow your heads and reflect with me for a moment. Let us pray. Dear gracious and eternal God, we come to you on this audacious occasion, overwhelmed by your goodness towards us. Lord, as we celebrate 45 years of advocacy and excellence, we say thank you. Thank you for your grace, and thank you for supernaturally emboldening us to answer the call of service in the name of the United States of America. Today, as we celebrate, we ask that each individual would be edified by the camaraderie and fellowship that is alive in this room. Dear God, as we partake of this meal, we are mindful of those who are going without today. And so, Lord, we ask that you would give us your heart for the hurting and for the weary. Father, we thank you for 45 years of progress, and we glorify you for your enduring legacy and the enduring legacy of the Thursday Luncheon Group. It is in the precious name of your blessed Son we do pray. Amen. Thank you, colleagues, and lunch is now served.
We're going to continue on with our program. Hi, my name is Ricardo Gibson, and I am the president of the Thursday Luncheon Group. I am proud to welcome our next guest speaker, Ambassador Marsha Bernacat. She will be introducing our keynote speaker, Ambassador Harry Thomas. Please, let's give her a round of applause.
Happy anniversary, everyone. It's a great honor to be here today, and if you're like me, you're thrilled to see so many faces of friends who have been friends for decades, people who reached back and pulled me forward, kept me from going off the cliff. Thank you to those of you who are here. But it's even more encouraging to see so many young faces in the crowd today, because 45 years is really still just the beginning, right? So thank you to all of you. It's an honor to have served with you. It's an honor to be serving with you. You know how they say the next speaker doesn't need any introduction? And yet, somehow, we always manage to find something to say about that person. I call Harry Thomas the diplomat's diplomat. He has served in an amazing array of jobs and regions of the world, the true generalist in every sense of the word. His ambassadorships in Bangladesh, Philippines, and Zimbabwe stretch across 3 of our geographic regions. He's also done some of the toughest duty we have, serving as executive secretary under Condoleezza Rice, where you made a number of changes to the way we do our business. As Director General, got to be one of the toughest jobs in the Foreign Service, and getting it right means getting it right for everyone. Harry came to us via Harlem, Holy Cross, Columbia, and even though he's been retired for a year, you'd hardly know it if you follow him on Facebook. I have to tell you, there's nothing like knowing a person by following him into a job. I didn't follow him directly into the post in Bangladesh, but by the time I got there, people were still talking about Harry K. Thomas. No one ever neglected the K. No one ever included the junior. For Bangladeshis, he was the Harry K. Thomas. And what was really touching was they didn't just remember Harry and remember him warmly for the incredible job he did there. They remembered him for the tough things he did. He sat in, I won't name his name because he's probably still under threat of arrest, but Harry went to someone's home one night and stayed there to prevent him from being arrested by the governing party and the government at the moment. He managed to get to jail anyway, but he also managed to get out. That man still remembers, and his family still remembers, that you, as the American ambassador, did that for him. People remember Harry as engaged across the board, as compassionate, as smart, as a linguist. Anyone who can speak Bangla just warms the Bangladeshi's heart. And they also remember you as a partier, Harry, but I'm just going to leave that one there. In any event, the latest institution to be blessed with Harry's presence is the Yale's Jackson Institute, where he serves as the Kissinger Senior Fellow and the QBS Learning Board Chairperson. And he sits in that institution with such august others as Governor Bill Richardson, Ryan Crocker, our own, and PBS Global Affairs former correspondent Margaret Warner. Will you please welcome me in join me in welcoming Harry K. Thomas.
I've forgotten. Thank you, Marcia. I have never partied, so I don't know where she got that from, but good afternoon. Before I start my speech, I have to say that I remember being up here. I would have got fired, but it was the day before Secretary Rice retired, when we were honoring Deputy Secretary Negroponte, and I was about to give him his award, and he fell off the backstage here, which is why we have this. So that's also why I didn't get fired. So always remember that. But Ambassador Taylor warned me not to be like an AME, a Baptist preacher, so I will try to be brief. Greg, congrats on being appointed Chief Diversity Officer, and thank you for your introduction and your naval service. Mr. Gibson and TLG officers, thank you. Thanks to all our friends who have joined us today. It is wonderful to have family and friends join the Thursday Luncheon Group's program honoring Fannie Allen, Dr. Thomas E. Rowe, and Dr. Richard Hope. All contributed in major ways to supporting excellence and diversity at State. We salute you. Now, I won't do like President Obama and try to sing, but I will paraphrase Whitney Houston. So if tomorrow is Judgment Day and I'm sitting on the front line and the Lord asks me what I did with my life, I will say I spent it with you, the TLG members who represent the world's finest diplomatic corps. And I pray that works, because like many of you, I'm going to need help getting past St. Peter. I am pleased to be in the Ben Franklin room with so many wealthy individuals. TLG members are wealthy. Wealth is your heart and soul. Wealth is who you touch. Wealth is what you do for others. Wealth is whose lives you transform. Wealth, despite the wall of racism, sexism, homophobia built in front of you. That wall remains today. But you keep scaling it. What is sad is those behind us must scale that wall too. I joined the Foreign Service in 1984 when the TLG was striving to convince the Reagan administration and Congress to implement programs that would increase what we now call diversity. When TLG was lamenting the lack of black ambassadors and deputy chiefs of missions, when TLG was seeking opportunities for blacks outside of Africa and the Caribbean, when the TLG was pushing for senior executive positions, despite being told you lacked drafting skills and could not learn hard languages, TLG members kept scaling the wall. My fellow New Yorker Eunice Reddick said that we have people of color who have experience, who are talented, who are excellent spokespersons for American values. They should be out there. They should be at the forefront of our diplomatic corps. But I bet Terrence Todman and Bob Dumas were saying in 1984 what Eunice said in 2018. And I've come to the conclusion that TLG members will be demanding inclusion in 2084, because that wall is wide and deep, as the song goes, full of smiling faces lying to the races. Despite the wall, we are blessed to be wealthy Americans. We were given the gift of being diplomats. TLG members have used the gift of being a diplomat to defend democracy and human rights, to celebrate Pride Month, to learn languages, to combat HIV/AIDS and fight human trafficking, to welcome refugees, to hug children no matter how they arrive on our shores, and most importantly, to listen and learn from others. This gift has taught TLG members to keep scaling the wall. June Carter Perry and Marsha Bernacat scaled that wall. And our spouses, our partners, our children have scaled that wall and kept us from falling off the wall. I know that Angie Young and Blossom Perry and Harriet Elam Thomas scaled that wall. I witnessed my eldest daughter, Casey, and so many of your children like Brittany McGann and Tina Blair scale their wall. They use their gift well. Many of us here today owe our gift to numerous TLG members like Cheryl Hodge, Margaret Anderson, Janice Clemens, who demanded that we scale the wall, made us reach back to help others, and chastise us if we weren't working hard enough to climb. And let us not forget Mary Ryan, Bill Swing, and Patricia Scroggs. Scaling the wall has helped me use my gift and wealth. My gift has allowed me to meet Nelson Mandela, to dine with the Dalai Lama, converse with microfinance founder Muhammad Yunus, and go on stage with the Black Eyed Peas. Laugh with Bruno Mars, fly to Afghanistan with Colin Powell, work side by side with Condoleezza Rice, and to brief Presidents Bush and Obama in the Oval Office. My gift allowed me to ask Dr. Rice for funds for the Rangel Fellowships. When asked how I did it, I tell junior officers that I asked the secretary in our morning staff meeting, and she immediately said yes. Now, Ruth Davis in Aurelia, Brazil told me to ask her. Now, despite being the executive secretary, I was unafraid of Condi Rice, but I was totally frightened of Ruth Davis in Aurelia, Brazil. And still am. But my gift also had me working at the White House on 9/11, bringing bodies of our heroes home from Iraq, witnessing the horrors of human trafficking, and the gift even had me tell HIV people they were positive. My gift has also allowed me to fail. In 1996 in Kashmir, human rights lawyer Jalil Andrabi appealed to me and others for help. I did not think he was in danger, but security forces detained him. Weeks later, we found his body floating in the river. My colleagues and I had to pay respects on his wife and young children. I told myself that I could not have done more to help him, but I could have and I should have. So entry and mid-level officers, you can always do more to help and save others. That gift box that we have is not always open, but it is well worth it. I'm currently using my gift, like so many retirees, to help our nieces and nephews who are scaling that wall, helping them get over the wall and bandaging them when they scrape their knees on the way over the wall, as we all did. My fellow wall scalers are known as uncles and aunts, Uncle Steve and Uncle Teddy and Aunt Linda and Aunt Joyce and Aunt Rhonda, who are all here today, serving as mentors. Everyone in this room is wealthy. Everyone I know in the Ben Franklin room today is mentoring some niece, some nephew, or some wayward cousin. You're not wasting your wealth. You're not throwing away your gift. You're using it wisely. Now, I know this summer we're going to have Rangels and Pickerings join A100. We must ask them, what are they going to do with their gift? Will you have the courage and faith of Pamela Bridgewater? Will you make the impossible possible, like Pamela Spratling? Will you engage the world like so many in this building have done and continue to do? What will the selfie of your life reveal? Thank goodness we still have Ron Robinson telling them not to waste their life. But there are not many of us left, and not enough coming in. Our newly minted civil and foreign service TLG member colleagues will have the opportunities to exchange ideas and even argue with foreign diplomats and policymakers while learning about their country and becoming friends. The easiest thing to see is what's wrong with the other nation or country without noticing what is wrong with ourselves. We have stories to tell, as Ambassador Perkins has done in his wonderful book, tears to shed and laughter to share. And that is what we do at State. We talk, we explain, we listen, we respect opposing views. So we need to ask these young people, will you be able to persevere during the hard times that surely will come your way? Our faith, our respect for other religions, tolerance for differing opinions, and support for many ways of life tell us to work to make the world better. And that is what we do in our embassies and our consulates, and that is what the global community still needs our help in doing. I believe that many future TLG members will be able to use the gift that is the Rangel and Pickering Fellowship to build opportunities for our most vulnerable and solutions to the most daunting challenges at home and abroad, whether you're at State, Commerce, Agriculture, AID, following in the footsteps of Alonzo Fulgham and Julius Coles. The choices we make, how we engage the world, will define ourselves and our nation that we love with wit, wisdom, and humility. So this summer, please join me in telling the Rangels, the Pickerings, the entry-level civil service not to leave their gift in the box. Every few years, slowly unwrap it. Peek inside. Take it out. Use it to better our global community, but don't throw it away. Keep it wherever you go. And when you're faced with hard choices, when life throws a wrench in your plans, when your faith is questioned, when your skills are doubted, once again, reflect on the work that the Thursday Luncheon Group has done and continues to do on your behalf. Pray, meditate, and then make your decision. And then you, like so many members gathered here today, will have used your gift and your wealth well to better our great nation. So thank you all for sharing your wealth with us. And young people, tear down that wall. So may God bless America, may God bless you and your families, and may the good Lord bless us all. Thank you so much.
You're not done yet.
Okay. Gives me a chance to take a few photos. No selfies. I'm too old to know how to do that.
I'm going to take the podium from
Okay,
here for a
thank
second.
you.
So I'm here to read the citation for the Pioneer Award presented to Ambassador Harry K. Thomas, Jr., statesman, promoter of excellence, committed mentor. That's what's on the plaque. In recognition of your extraordinarily distinguished 34-year career with the U.S. Department of State, service in challenging senior positions in the Foreign Service, culminating in achieving the rank of career minister, your engagement as the first African-American executive secretary, and subsequently as Director General left an indelible positive mark on the department as an institution. Your ambassadorships in Bangladesh, the Philippines, and Zimbabwe demonstrate your outstanding commitment to diplomatic excellence and strategic advancement of U.S. leadership and American ideals. Most enduring is your compassion, setting high expectations of those serving around you, and commitment to fostering the best in all your colleagues. You have inspired generations devoted to public service and a promising future. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, and let me say I'm particularly honored to be able to present the 2019 Pioneer Award to Fannie Allen. So would Fannie Allen come forward? Where is she? Oh, there she is. In recognition of your dedicated public service career in the military and combined 39 years at the Departments of Defense and State, respectively. As president of the Thursday Luncheon Group, your results focused approach among TLG board members, and it resulted in the recruiting of prominent international affairs speakers to highlight substantive topics for our members. Additionally, your steadfast leadership resulted in the establishment of contacts which laid the groundwork for a joint partnership with the American Foreign Service Association, which has welcomed 30 interns within the department since its inception. Your wide-ranging community service record touches a cross-section of generations, including students, inmates, civic and religious organizations, as well as academic institutions. Your light continues to shine bright through your forward-leaning skills-based initiative to uplift communities and dedication in providing the underpinnings for a principle-based society. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And they want a picture.
Ambassador Elam Thomas, thank you. Thank you for that very warm presentation. Good afternoon. I am humbled to be in the company of such distinguished recipients of the 45th Anniversary Pioneer Award from the Thursday Luncheon Group. My devoted parents, late parents, deserve the maximum credit for shaping my life. They gave me an unceasing drive to succeed in all of my academic, personal, and professional endeavors. When they married very young, they vowed to work together. That vow was their guiding force throughout their 68-year marriage. As residents of the rural South, with limited options for formal education, they applied their hard-earned wisdom to ensure the siblings and I received a sound education, and it led to diplomas and university degrees. Today, I am most pleased to say a public and heartfelt thank you to my dear brother, now the family patriarch, retired Master Sergeant Charles Allen, United States Air Force. My very first out-of-state trip and my parents' first trip abroad is thanks to him. Bruh, please stand. Okay. In the early 70s, my brother introduced me to an inspiring Foreign Service officer, Horace G. Dawson, United States Information Agency. What a blessing. My special thanks to you, Ambassador Dawson, wherever you are. And as you know, he likes to be referred to as Ambassador Horace Greeley Dawson. He sparked an interest in me for the Foreign Service. I will be forever grateful to the TLG founders, members, mentors, and the executive committee who gave me their full support as I began my service as TLG president. If being TLG president was not enough, the late Jim Parker nominated me for the State Department Federal Credit Union Membership Committee, where I served for a number of years. Charles Hughes, State Department, Jerry Patterson, and Jim Washington of USAID, Sam President of USIA, and Ambassador Robert Perry were my kitchen cabinet. As I learned to navigate the policies and objectives of state, USAID, and USIA, I could not have done the work without them. When I reflect on the timely and positive messages that the TLG speakers delivered, I must yet again share this award with the TLG pioneers. As you review the names in the program, close your eyes for a moment and imagine their presence on this platform today. They share this award. Members of my steadfast team from the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, Grants Division, are with me today. Thank you always for having my back. Our complex task required your diligence, discretion, efficiency, and your honesty. You were magnificent. Before the Oscar music starts, I must share with you that the current TLG AFSA intern partnership, which you've heard a little bit about earlier, is a result of the collaboration between Jim Washington and Tex Harris of State Department. Back in 1996, not 66, we had the foresight to hire our first intern, Stacy D. Williams. You understand. Clearly, this young civil servant demonstrated significant leadership skills back then. Several years later, he served as the TLG president for over 7 years. When we speak about return on investment, Stacy did not disappoint. He set a high bar for subsequent interns, and they met the challenge. We see the fruits of Stacy's efforts on vivid display in the young men and women now at the helm of TLG and in this room. If you would indulge me for a moment, would all of those that have served in the armed services please stand? We thank you for your service. Thank you, family, church family, friends, and colleagues for being here today. I am deeply honored to accept the TLG 2019 Pioneer Award. Peace and blessings to you all, and blessings for the continued work of the Thursday Luncheon Group.
Good afternoon. My name is Yushia Berry. I am the Deputy Assistant General Counsel for Legislation and Policy at USAID. As a 2012 Fellow of the International Career Advancement Program, also called ICAP, it is an honor and a privilege to present a Pioneer Award to the esteemed Dr. Thomas Rowe as the visionary, educator, and champion of diversity. As Dr. Rowe takes the stage, I ask any ICAP fellows, senior advisors, or any member of the ICAP family to please stand up and be acknowledged. It's on behalf of TLG and your ICAP family, Dr. Rowe, that I ask you to take the stage. Dr. Rowe, in recognition of your vision, leadership, and ingenuity in developing, organizing, and implementing the ICAP program, we honor you today. Your strongly held belief that the diversity of the United States should be reflected in senior leadership within international affairs institutions serves as a foundation to bring the mid-career professionals together in Aspen and in Washington, D.C. for a life-changing experience that enhances their professional skills and abilities to build confidence in their leadership. As the founder and director of ICAP, you identified a path for underrepresented groups to network and strengthen their relationship so that they fulfill their leadership potential. ICAP, as you know, boasts 550 fellows, including several ambassadors, leaders of nonprofit organizations, and the private sector. Because of the program's profound success, ICAP was recognized by The Economist's Global Diversity List as one of the nation's top 10 ethnicity employee networks, and boasts members from employees from State Department, Ag, USAID, and others. And because of your unique stewardship, you were named one of the top 50 diversity figures in public life. But of course, you know that already. Your steadfast leadership and investment in the next generation of senior professionals have made an indelible mark on many aspiring individuals and on the international affairs arena. And so today, we honor you. Thank you.
What is it?
It's a coin from our TLG coin.
Ah, very nice. Yes, thank you.
Can I take a picture here?
What? Oh, okay. Hold this?
Yes.
Thank you, Yoshia. Also an ICAPper, ICAP fellow. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Thursday Luncheon Group for this kind and generous award. I'm truly honored to be receiving an award from the Thursday Luncheon Group. It's a group that I've greatly admired since I first heard of it from Ambassador Ruth Davis many years ago. I know some of the good work that you have done. I'm also humbled to be included among such worthy folk as Ambassador Harry Thomas, Fannie Allen, and Richard Hope. I've seen from afar the work that Ambassador Thomas and Miss Allen have done, and I actually worked for a period with Richard Hope when he was at the Woodrow Wilson Foundation, and I was Dean of International Studies at the University of Denver. We worked on on various fellowship programs, particularly what the fellowship program that's now known as the Public Policy and International Affairs program, which was then administered out of the Woodrow Wilson Foundation. I established the International Career Advancement Program ICAP in 1996-97, for reasons basically similar to why the TLG, the Thursday Luncheon Group, was established, to increase the representation of the underrepresented in the administration and leadership of the United States involvement in international affairs. If we want the most legitimate, the most innovative, the most intelligent, the most effective leadership, then it needs to reflect the full diversity of the U.S. population. It can't be, as they used to say of the U.S. Foreign Service, thankfully, many, many years ago, Yale, male, and pale. I established ICAP 22 years ago, and I'm especially proud of that, of course, but ICAP would not still exist and would not have had the impact it has had were it not for the constant support and encouragement from Ambassador Ruth Davis and from my wife, Amita Samuels. Indeed, the real strength of ICAP is in the loyal senior mentors, some of whom are here today, and the ICAP alumni, those who stood up earlier, the ICAP fellows, many of whom are here. So I applaud and celebrate all of you and thank you for the continued support of the program and continued support of each other. The aim of ICAP is to recognize the extraordinary talent that exists, that's available among our mid-career professionals from underrepresented groups, to recognize that, and to provide a peer support group, networking opportunities and advice, career advising and coaching, mentoring and sponsorship, discussions of leadership and management styles, considerations of how to maintain a work-life balance, discussions of major policy issues, and the like. If we can do these things successfully, support and encourage those talented folks that are already in the pipeline, and if we're able then to bring greater diversity and inclusiveness to U.S. leadership, I am confident that we will have a dramatically improved quality in U.S. participation in international affairs, here at state, in other government agencies, and in the nonprofit and private sectors as well. You can't have the best leadership possible if you can't promote from the full range of the participants already in the pipeline. I'm currently reading Henry Louis Gates' Stony the Road, a very difficult tale of the Reconstruction period, white supremacy, and the rise of Jim Crow in America. It's an extremely sad narrative of the white racist reaction to the efforts at reform following the Civil War. But it's still encouraging to know the story of those who continued the struggle in the face of the most terrible of circumstances. The title, of course, comes from a phrase in James Johnson's poem and the anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, that you have the words of here, which was neat. The phrase, the line, stony the road we trod, from that poem is where he got his title. Each underrepresented group in America has had to endure severe obstacles, and each continues to face difficulties. African Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, American Indians, the LGBT community, persons with disabilities, and even cisgender white women. And even though there has been progress, the problems and resistance to fairness and equity in the present can sometimes seem overwhelming. We've certainly seen a resurgence of racism and ethnocentrism in recent years. We have to recognize that the road to a better future for our country has been in the past, is now, and will continue to be a stony one, and not always moving in the direction of equity and social justice. At the same time, this journey is a vital one, and we must help each other as we travel it. We're an improved country compared to the one Gates discusses in the late 1800s and first part of the 20th century. The United States in the future will still be a better country if we travel the road to greater equity and encourage each other through groups like the Thursday Luncheon Group. A stony road is easier to travel if we all provide mutual help along the way. So thank you very much for this opportunity and for this award. Very much appreciated.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aquania Escarne, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of presenting and introducing our last Pioneer Award recipient, Dr. Richard Hope. In 2003, I was a sophomore student at George Washington University. I hail from Atlanta, Georgia, just like Dr. Hope, and I came here on a wing and a prayer to pursue a career in foreign affairs. But I was on financial assistance and also still working 2 part-time jobs to pay for the gap in my tuition, scholarship, and other needs so that I could afford to remain at GW. And for my first 2 years, I diligently looked for and searched for scholarships to continue to bridge that gap in my cost of education. And I'm still grateful for the friend who told me about the Pickering Fellow he worked with as an intern at the State Department. And he said, you should really look into this fellowship because you came here to work in foreign affairs, and this is the fellowship that'll not only help you get there, but it'll help you pay for your education. So without further ado, I applied, not knowing what God really had in store for me. I'm so glad that in 2003, I was a recipient of the fellowship program. My call to my mother right after they called me was one filled with tears, where I was glad to say, you will never have to write a check for my education again, and I can quit these 2 jobs. 11 years later, I am proud to be a U.S. Foreign Service officer, serving my country in Haiti, United Arab Emirates, following an earthquake, the Arab Spring, coming back to Washington, D.C. to serve several tours, contributing to U.S. foreign policy. So Dr. Hope, I personally say thank you for all the efforts you put forth to develop the Pickering Foreign Affairs Fellowship when you were asked to do so by our former Secretary of State, Colin Powell. For those that don't know, the Pickering Fellowship is a program that helps provide postgraduate training to minorities, women, and those from diverse backgrounds, but possibly also low-income families. It is thanks to this fellowship that we have a more diverse U.S. Foreign Service that better reflects the nation's diversity. So Dr. Hope, if you could please, where did he go? Come up to the stage. Thank you so much. Today we honor you, an educator, a sociologist, a program manager, and an institution builder, in recognition for your important role in the development and implementation of the Thomas R. Pickering Foreign Affairs Program, which has been a major contributor to making the Foreign Service of the United States more diverse. In addition to helping design and shape this important program, you managed it for more than a decade and a half, and it's under your leadership I gained the fellowship. recruiting and selecting the best and brightest candidates with the most potential to serve as effective Foreign Service officers. You and the dedicated staff you so expertly managed, mentored, guided, and encouraged the Pickering Fellows, and worked hand in hand with the Department of State to ensure the success of the program and its participants. Your dedicated work has produced a successful cadre of Foreign Service officers, including at the senior and ambassador levels, has made the Foreign Service more reflective of America, and has enhanced the U.S. Department of State's ability to make effective foreign policy. Everyone, Dr. Richard Hope, our Pioneer Award recipient.
How much time you got? You notice they put me last because they said, well, uh-oh, you get him out here, it's going to be a while yet. But I have promised the leadership that I will not talk so much. What is it? You can tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him much. That's it. Okay. Well, I am truly honored to be introduced by a Pickering Fellow, and she is exactly what we had in mind. I have to give her another. Where'd she go? I mean, you can't ask for more than that. It's wonderful to be recognized. And most importantly, it's wonderful to be recognized by TLG. I remember speaking to TLG many years ago when we were just getting started. And I talked a little bit about this little idea we had. And I have to say, TLG loved the idea. And in fact, there were times when TLG was the only organization that supported it in those days. It's essential that we recognize the wonderful leaders that have gone before us, because that makes the difference. And I'm going to be very brief, but recognize a few that were very helpful in our experience. I have to recognize Ambassador Thomas R. Pickering, who allowed us to use his name. I remember when we had a luncheon at FSI, and we brought all the students in the summer, and then we brought Foreign Service officers, ambassadors. And Ambassador Pickering just happened to be there. And we had him at small tables like this. And so we had the students and then one person like himself. And at the end of the luncheon, he came up to me and he says, "Are these your people?" I said, "You better believe these are my people." That this is what we are doing. And he says, "You can count on me." And I said, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that." Because henceforth, it became known as the Thomas R. Pickering Fellowship Program. It was known originally as the Foreign Affairs Fellows Program. Some of you old-timers might remember that. Speaking of old-timers, I have to mention a person that influenced my thinking about the Foreign Service, and that is Robert Kitchen. And I don't know whether many of you know that name. He came to speak at Morehouse College, where I was a student, and he talked about this career in the Foreign Service. And it was so strange to me at the time. I came up after the speech and I said, that can't be true. And he says, yes, everything I said is true. You do all of these things. And he says, I tell you what, if you come to Washington, I will personally show you what I'm talking about, which ultimately I did after finishing my degrees, and he became a personal friend that influenced this, and this is going way back. This was in my sophomore year at Morehouse. So I just turned 80, so you can figure that out. Another stalwart, another person that I have to mention quickly is Ambassador Edward Perkins. Edward Perkins believed when most did not. And he called me, I'll never forget this. He called me and he says, Dr. Hope, you want to do this program? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, all you have to do is go and convince the State Department. And with that, he assigned another stalwart, John Gravely. Everybody knows John Gravely, who made such an impact on the students and on the process. He was an ordained minister, thank God. Because as I went out to talk to Foreign Service groups about this idea, suffice to say, I didn't get an overwhelmingly positive response. And if it wasn't for John Gravely, I have to say this, and I've said it before, that John really used his clinical skills. He would call me every evening and say, he says, Doc, you don't just disregard these folks. This is important. And he would go on so anyway, thank God for John Gravely, who significantly made a difference in terms of getting it on board, and by the way, supporting it all the way through until his passing. Another person that I have to, and please forgive me for those whose names I don't call, but I have to mention Ambassador Ruth A. Davis. And Ruth always provided the specific information, facts, and attitude that I needed. If she thought it was a dumb idea, she said, Richard, that's a dumb idea. but most of the time, she not only had great suggestions, but she introduced us to other individuals who were of like mind and sort of propelled us through, shall we say, the dark days, right? and I have to mention one, I was sort of hoping he'd be here, but Alan Goodman. I don't know if he was dean at Georgetown University. And as you know, I taught at Princeton University and MIT and others, and we were sort of brothers in the university sense. And he was very helpful to me interpreting not only the university context, but the Foreign Service context, because he brought them both together as dean at Georgetown. He's now head of the Institute for International Education in New York. And I can go on and on with so many wonderful people, and I look around and see all these folks that I've known for how many years? Eons, we'll say. And my wife, who unfortunately could not come, said that you must come to this. Plus, it's going to be one hell of a party. So we are so pleased and honored at receiving this award. And finally, I feel very positive about the future of these programs. The new excellent leadership that I've seen convinces me that they are prepared and capable of handling and combating the negative forces of change in this country today. And so it's wonderful, like the Pickering Fellow, that there is a new group now prepared to take over from us old people. And we look forward to receiving their orders for the future. So thank you again very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the Director General of the Foreign Service and Director of Human Resources, Ambassador Carol Perez. Throughout her extensive career, Ambassador Perez has served as Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary in 2 bureaus, in the Bureau for Human Resources and the Bureau for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, respectively. It is not too often a person gets to hold what we call the PDAS position in 2 different bureaus. She also served as Consul General twice, once in Milan and the second time in Barcelona. She most recently served as the U.S. Ambassador to Chile. I first met Ambassador Perez when I began working in the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement. She stood out because of her leadership and her passion. It was not out of the ordinary to see her mentor entry-level and mid-level staffers, or you even would see her at a diversity council event. Even though she was really, really busy, she took the time out of her schedule to show the staff that type of love. So we really appreciated that. She brings that same energy, she has that infectious spirit to what she's doing right now as Director General of the Foreign Service. So without further ado, please help me in welcome Ambassador Carol Perez.
Good afternoon. I have to say it like everybody else, good afternoon. And thank you so much, Ricardo. Ricardo and I did meet when I joined INL in 2011. He worked in our press section then and has grown so much, and it's so wonderful to see you as president of this organization. I'm really honored to be here. I see so many former colleagues and current colleagues. I'm delighted to also recognize and meet the Pioneer winners today, truly, really making incredible milestones for everyone. I thought what I would just briefly do is, you're probably wondering why the Director General is speaking, but actually TLG and my Bureau of HR, Human Resources, we work together on a lot of projects. And as the program notes, many of the TLG members have gone on to assume leadership roles in the department and at USAID. They've served as U.S. ambassadors. I know that there are at least 3 former Director Generals here who are members of the TLG. I see 2 here, and I also, Linda Thomas Greenfield, who nobody's talked about, is sitting at the back. An amazing, amazing woman who deserves recognition. And of course, we have career ambassadors here. I see Ambassador Young, I see Ambassador Davis and others. This is absolutely amazing for all of us. A lot has been talked about, by the way, about the Pickering and Rangel Fellows. Just to let you know that this past year, we had over 1,600 applicants for the 60 fellowships. So this is not a program that's going away. If anything, it's become such a success that I only wish we had the money to expand it. And I know that Congress talks about it all the time, and that's the next thing we need to do, is to see if we can expand the program beyond the 60 that we have. So my job, of course, is to make sure that we have the best diplomatic team in the world, and the way we do that is to have an inclusive, respectful department team. And so diversity and inclusion are important for what we do. That's why Pickering and Rangel are so important. That's why we continue to recruit at historically black colleges and universities and institutions that serve women and minorities. I will tell you, I've been in the job since February 1st, and we've been working hard, but we have a really long way to go. And that's why I'm glad that TLG is a partner. And I have to tell you, every time somebody tells us we're not doing well, I say, I was the first female ambassador to Chile from the United States. That means we are not doing well. So I think we do need to have to change it, and that's why I'm really thankful for the relationship we have with TLG. But let me just talk a little bit about what we do together. So as you know, it's been mentioned today, TLG partners with the American Foreign Service Association and the Association of Black American Ambassadors to provide 2 minority students with paid internships to the department. And since 1992, they sponsored 32 interns. TLG also funds scholarships for students from 8 historically black colleges and universities. TLG organizes recruitment events in coordination with us, with my bureau, including an annual career panel discussion forum and networking event at Howard University. And finally, TLG works to get ethnicity and race identification added to our department's GEMS profile, and this is how we capture information about every one of the 75,000 people that work for the State Department, so that we can promote diversity on our Board of Examiners, obviously have opportunities for the International Career Advancement Program and professional development programs for mid-level officers. So this is quite a record of achievement, and it's an example of what a committed group of people can do when we work together. When I travel overseas or I meet with employees here at home, I encourage them to work with their peers, just as you have done. I try to underscore that change more often than not comes from the bottom up. I'm also very cognizant of some statements that Ambassador Perkins met recently. We had the opening event for the new Pickering Rangel cohort just a couple weeks ago. And what I try to put into perspective, as he did so eloquently that evening, is we have to remember the past. And he talked a lot about how the civil rights movement changed his lives and the lives of others. Well, we all have a movement. We all have something that we need to make better. And we have to remember where we were so that we can go forward. And I appreciate that, because I took that with me, and I have now quoted you more than once, Ambassador Perkins. So your name is getting out for a new generation of Foreign Service officers. And just a reminder that we will celebrate 230 years as an organization on July 29th. I think that's a huge achievement. We are in the Ben Franklin room. This is where history began. But I know with the new people we have coming on board, they are our history for the future. They will make all of our efforts worthwhile. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Perez, for those kind remarks. We would not be here today if it were not for our trailblazers. They were innovative individuals who had the foresight to create this organization and help propel its mission. I would like to recognize those trailblazers right now. In your program, we have a listing of 24 of our pioneers, including the 4 ones we inaugurated today. You'll find those names in your booklet. I would like to call to the front our pioneers currently in attendance. I asked if you can make room right here in front of the podium to stand so that you all can be recognized. I would like to call first Ambassador Joyce Barr. Is she here? She might have left a little early. Ambassador Teddy Taylor, would you please come to the front? Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield. She might have left. Ambassador Ruth A. Davis. Ambassador Edward J. Perkins. Yes, sir. Ambassador Aurelia Brazil. Dr. Esther Roberts. And I would like to call our 4 recent pioneers to the stage one more time. Ambassador Harry Thomas. Miss Fannie Allen. Dr. Tom Rowe. And Dr. Richard Hope. It's because of the hard work of these individuals standing before you today that our organization has been able to flourish as well as it has. So please give them another round of applause. And at this moment, I would like to ask Ms. Fannie Allen, Ambassadors Taylor, Davis, and Brazil to remain standing. All other recipients, you may take your seats. Over the years, we've been fortunate to have a select few of individuals take on a leadership role within TLG in an effort to advance the organization's mission. We are pleased to have a number of our past presidents here with us today. I would like to call additional former past presidents to the front. Ambassador June Carter Perry. She may have left early as well. Let's give her a round of applause. Oh, is she here? Oh, no, there she is. Ambassador Pamela Bridgewater. And last but certainly not least, my immediate predecessor, Mr. Stacy D. Williams. Please come to the front. Very nice. You all may return to your seats. Thank you. Now, as you may know, no one president can develop or advance an agenda alone. If there are any vice presidents, treasurers, and other board members from the past, please stand so that you can be recognized. As I stand before you today, the immortal phrase that people use a lot still rings in my mind, which is that we truly stand on the shoulders of giants. It's because of these individuals here in this room, including yourself, that we are able to flourish as an organization. And I would like to thank all of our pioneers and past presidents for everything that you've done for TLG. Thank you for your service. Throughout our history, we have had various champions in Congress. I'm pleased to take a moment to read part of a statement by Congressman Gregory Meeks, which was added to the congressional record recognizing TLG's 45th anniversary. You will be able to find our full statement on our website, thursdayluncheongroup.org, if you don't know. In recognition of the 45th anniversary of the Thursday Luncheon Group, the Honorable Gregory W. Meeks of New York in the House of Representatives, Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. Mr. Meeks says, Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor the Thursday Luncheon Group, an organization that serves as an effective platform to help African Americans play an equitable role in the formulation, articulation, and implementation of U.S. foreign policy. When I travel the world, I witness firsthand the importance of having an inclusive diplomatic corps, reflecting the American people's rich cultural tapestry. As the U.S. Department of State's oldest employee affinity group, TOG has been instrumental in leading the charge to promote diversity within the Department of State and the U.S. Agency for International Development. With the Thursday Luncheon Group's strong commitment to diversity and excellence in international affairs, TOG has set the standard for all affinity groups to follow. I congratulate members of the Thursday Luncheon Group for 45 years of service to our country. Our country is better because of your service. In attendance today, we have some of Congressman Meeks' staff who are attending on his behalf. If you all are still here, could you please stand? I think they may have, well, we'll give them a round of applause. They may have left a little bit. Ah, there you go. Thank you. We thank the Congressman for being an advocate for TOG, the Department of State, USAID, as well as our Pickering, Rangel, and Payne Fellows program. Thank you all for coming. Now, you've heard a wealth of pertinent information this afternoon. You've heard from our honorees today. We've recognized our presidents and pioneers. And you also heard a little bit about the origins of the Thursday Luncheon Group. This organization continues to support its initial mandate, and we've expanded our mission. We have and we must continue to look forward to identifying and supporting the next generation of leaders. The theme for this year's program, as you can see on the cover, is reinvesting in our future. In this room, we have future ambassadors, we have future assistant secretaries, and future department leaders. TOG pledges to further our efforts in preparing our members to reach the senior ranks, both in the civil service and in the foreign service. 1 year ago, TOG welcomed a new executive board. We have looked for new and innovative ways to reinvest into the organization. We started by first redoubling our efforts to offer more programming, including initiating a new brown bag discussion series. The discussion series is a small discussion where we get senior officials from either Department of State or USAID to speak in an intimate environment with our members, where they can talk about leadership, professional development, lessons learned, information that our officers would need to know as they transition into the senior ranks. It has been successful, and we thank all of the senior officials who've come to speak before us. Second, we've expanded our presence at USAID. We now have a USAID liaison who works on specific USAID programming, and we're looking to do more with our USAID members. And third, earlier this year, we sent a survey out to all of our members to determine what you would like to see from the current board. I wanted you to know that we heard you, and you will be seeing some changes coming forward in the coming months. One of the initiatives we are really excited to have, we will be relaunching our mentorship program. So this is going to be an opportunity for our current members, entry-level members, to connect with our pioneers as well as other peer mentors. We want to really reinvest and give back to the organization. So stay tuned, that will be coming shortly. We also have put forth a new plan to have more informal networking. That was one of the pieces of feedback that we got from our members, is that they want to get together more often so that they can know each other. So we will be putting together more informal programming. Now, I may be a little biased, but I believe that our members are in the best position to be the resource for entry-level and mid-level officers. And so we want to connect our members with each other, and so that we can have a flourishing organization. Now, as Ambassador Perez mentioned, we do support 2 summer interns, and with the support of your dues, we support them as well as scholarships for 8 HBCUs. Our summer interns are here with us today. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge them. Can Ms. Alexis McNally and Ms. Jasmine McClam stand? Let's give them a round of applause. The executive board and I also want to give back to the community. We want TLG out to speak with all different groups. We have partnered with several organizations in the Washington, D.C. area, and we're looking to expand those partnerships. Now, working in the Foreign Affairs Agency, we often think globally. That's par for the course, but we also must act locally. We want to be in the communities of color, to showcase the diversity of our diplomatic corps, and to empower them and to inspire them. We want to encourage them to consider a career in international affairs, and I think TLG is in a perfect position to do that. As we've seen over the recent years, demographics of the workplace have shifted. TLG is looking to enhance the way we communicate so that we can reach out better to the new millennial generation. We've launched a new website last year. We revived our newsletter, and today I'm happy to announce we're finally on Instagram, so we launched our Instagram page today. All right. We want to reach this new tech-savvy generation, and so we realize that we have to come up with new ways to reach them. And if you all are interested, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram at TheTLG1973. At this moment, we have over 700 followers on Facebook, and we're looking to continue to grow our audience. That is a way that we're really using to get information out to the public. And finally, TLG continues to work with other employee affinity groups to develop a diversity strategy for the department. One of our greatest strengths as a nation is our diversity. We will continue to work to make sure that the Department of State and USAID continues to reflect the diversity of America. Now, some of you have come from near, some of you come from far. I even have my family here at table 3. Give them some love. I want to thank you all for coming to the TLG 45th anniversary. It has meant so much to me to see everyone here in attendance and to see the buzz and to see the energy in the room. And I will wrap up now, but I will turn it over to Ambassador Ruth Davis, who will now give a tribute to our pioneers and our trailblazers that we've lost recently.
This has been a wonderful celebration, hasn't it? Really has. And I'd like to give my congratulations to Fannie Allen, to Harry Thomas, to Thomas Rowe, to Richard Hope for being inducted into the august group of pioneers. It is always a wonderful occasion when friends, colleagues, and people united by a common professional interest to get together and to celebrate. Today, we have celebrated TLG's 45 years of existence as a formidable presence in the foreign affairs community, as the State Department's oldest and largest affinity group created to ensure the participation of African Americans in the formulation, articulation, and implementation of foreign policy. Over the past 45 years, TLG has been guided by and worked in concert with an incredible cadre of pioneers who devoted their energy and resources to fostering diversity and inclusion in the foreign affairs community. The bad news is that since we celebrated TLG's 40th anniversary in this very room, we have lost 5 of our distinguished pioneers. It is regrettable when these pioneers pass on and are no longer with us. But the good news is that they left tremendous legacies for us all. Legacies that shine as beacons that say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Not only succeed in this complicated, challenging, exhilarating world of diplomacy, but you too can excel and make great and memorable accomplishments under the rubric of advancing U.S. foreign policy and making foreign policy, making our establishment look more like the American population, more like the people in this room, because you look like America to me. So we remember those five: Ambassador Ronald Palmer, who served as ambassador to Togo, Malaysia, and Mauritius, and was known for playing a significant role in shaping and enhancing U.S. relations with Southeast Asia. Miss Cheryl Hodge, beloved by all and admired for her work in ensuring an equitable performance evaluation system and her mentorship of both foreign and civil service employees. Miss Janice Clements, highly regarded for her outstanding counseling skills used to guide and promote the careers of both civil and foreign service personnel. Mr. Simeon Booker, Washington Bureau Chief of Jet Magazine, who actively publicized the activities of African Americans involved in international affairs. And last, but by no means least, Career Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Terrence Todman, who served as 6-time ambassador to Chad, to Guinea, to Costa Rica, to Denmark, to Argentina, and to Spain. And he served as Assistant Secretary of State for Latin American Affairs, and he was known for breaking barriers and demanding excellence. Let us remember these pioneers as leaders and role models. Let us celebrate their lives, their careers, their dedication, and the impact that they made on diversity and inclusion in the foreign affairs community. Those venerable pioneers have gone, but they have passed the torch on to those of us in this room. And we are challenged with the weighty task of being the absolutely best that we can be, and of setting new standards of excellence and achievements, and of supporting TLG during the next 5 years as the organization moved towards its next milestone of half a century old. Can we rise to these challenges, folks? Can we? I hear from your reaction that the answer is yes, we can, and yes, we will. I thank you. So come get me down.
Well, thank you, Ambassador Davis. That is a tough act to follow. Now, we have a couple of housekeeping notes before we end today's program. Although you see me on the stage, I would like to take the time to give a special thanks to all of those that made this possible. The TOG Executive Board, the 45th Anniversary Committee, the Program Committee, and a whole host of volunteers that made this afternoon successful. Please let's give them a round of applause. And the full listing of volunteers is in your program. I would also like to thank Director Gregory Smith and the staff of the Office of Civil Rights for their help in helping us secure this room. It's because of his office that we're here today. Let's give him a round of applause. And I would also like to thank the Bureau of Administration for their technical support, as well as their operational support to make this day go smoothly. And before we conclude, I have one item that is not on the schedule, because it's a surprise for a special individual. I would like to call Mr. Stacy D. Williams to the stage. Come on up here, man. Come on. For those that are in the room that know Stacy, they know that he has impacted so many people in the department as well as in USAID, myself included. And I want to take this opportunity to recognize him for his continued support. To many in the department, Stacy is a wise counsel, a chief strategist, an advocate, and a mentor. And on behalf of the Thursday Luncheon Group, I would like to present you with this inaugural Special Recognition Award. You are receiving this award because you continue to exemplify the founding principles of the Thursday Luncheon Group, which includes support and mentorship. Thank you for all that you've done. And the citation reads, Special Recognition Award presented to Stacy D. Williams in recognition of the work you have done as president to build the Thursday Luncheon Group into a formidable affinity organization which has been instrumental in helping make the Department of State and the U.S. Agency for International Development more diverse and inclusive. You have been successful in the recruitment and mentorship of innumerable talented young professionals across the interagency. You have welcomed new hires, mentored entry and mid-level professionals, and spearheaded several recruitment initiatives to diversify the workplace and others designed to help retain top talent. Your mentorship helps our valued employees understand their strengths and identify skills and training needed for advancement. You proudly serve as a forward-leaning voice in the department and are highly regarded as a valuable resource within the local and international affairs community. Your outstanding work embodies the vision set forth by TOG's founders. Dated June 24th, 2019, Benjamin Franklin Room, U.S. Department of State. And in your program, we have a copy of Lift Every Voice and Sing. I would like to call my colleague Sharon Cook to the stage, who will lead us in the singing of the song. Please join in singing. After the song, the program will conclude. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at the 50th anniversary. Sister Sharon, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is just one moment for us to contribute to leaving on an inspirational and what I hope will be an uplifting moment in time for all of us. I will start off in leading, but please join me as you are able. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt through the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast cast my mind, let us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.